Could you maybe be going on a date with Zachary? Hi everyone, it's Kechi, aka OBiGem. Welcome back to the channel. If you're new, please do not forget to hit the subscribe button. Also the notification bell to be notified of all future videos. And if you like what you see, please do hit the like button so I know to keep making content like this. So we're back with another episode of Growing Up Genki, and this is a pretty familiar sight. If you guys have been watching this series from episode 1, you remember that I started way back when, episode 1, with the Hitoshi family at the kotatsu table, and we are here again with Hana, Yume, and Hiro at the kotatsu table. Like, I know though that you're probably thinking, why are we at the kotatsu table at the Hitoshi family though, with Hana and the like all back together? And that is because the Ito family's house is going under renovation. Megumi decided she wanted to update the place, give it a little bit more of a modern, expensive feel. So the whole family has cleared out and they are all staying at a hotel until those renovations are done. That's a storyline answer. The real kind of answer to why I'm renovating their house, or not really renovating, I'm replacing the lot with a different one. It's because, don't hate me, I know a lot of little Simsy stands, love everything she builds, but I can't stand navigating through that house. It's so frustrating to play in, and I just don't understand the floor plan choices, such as having 2 bedrooms on the second floor and 0 bathrooms, and having 2.5 bathrooms on the bottom floor, and 2 of them like right next to each other, and because one's an ensuite and one's not, and it's really confusing sometimes figuring out which one's the ensuite bathroom because they mirror each other, and it's just like a whole mess. I keep forgetting that half bath is even there. But that aside, the house is just really difficult to play in, and I don't know how many people actually have played in the Ito household and feel my pain, but I find it difficult to play in. For me personally, especially if I'm playing in a bigger home, there needs to be minimally 1 bathroom on each floor, and that is just to make things more accessible for your Sims, to avoid any types of pee mistakes, because these Sims, if there's not a close enough bathroom and they really need to go, they will pee on themselves. And it's been a fun ride. I tried, but we're getting a new house. So the next time we're going to be in the Ito household, it'll be a brand spanking new house, and the one I picked out I think is gorgeous, and I think you guys will like it too. But that aside, Megumi had booked them a hotel and 3 suites at the Windenburg Hotel in Windenburg. So Megumi decides to book the hotel there, 1, because she has business. They have business that they're doing in Windenburg right now, so it'll make it easier for them to just be close contact to do those business things that they have going on. 2, because it's close to Hana's school, and I mean honestly really just those 2 things. So but there's like an ulterior motive to this. As she was deciding where to go for them to stay while the house is renovating, little Nanami actually ended up being a little tweet bird in her ear and say, hey mother, it might be a good idea for us to stay in Windenburg, not just because you have business there, and not just because Hana goes to school there, but also it'll give Hana and Kiyoshi some time to just have some one-on-one time away from the family. And you know how the Windenburg Hotel has, honeymoon suites there. They could have a suite to themselves to kind of grow closer, and I think that'll be really good for them. And Megumi's like, Nanami, that's actually a really good idea. I think that is exactly what they should do. So Megumi brought the whole scenario to the family and said, look, we all have to clear out of the house. It's getting renovated, and we're all going to be staying at the Windenburg Hotel together. I booked 3 suites, 1 for, me and my husband, 1 for Nanami, and 1 for Kiyoshi and Hana. Hana was internally mortified. She's like, what in the world? I'm gonna have to be staying in a suite with Kiyoshi? And she didn't want to show her panic on her face because she knew that just kind of put her in a bad situation. So she really thought fast and was like, as great and amazing as that sounds, mother, would it, like, I want to ask, would it be too much if I just stay with my parents while the house is being renovated? I don't get to see my mom and dad too often anymore, and if the house is going to be out of commission for a while anyway, I would really like to spend that time away from the house with my family just a little bit. And, you know how my mom, she had a baby before I left home. I barely ever get to see my sister, so could I maybe spend time with my family? And Megumi was not too pleased to hear about Hana not wanting to get on board with the plan. She's like, I don't know, like, does that really make sense? You do have school in Windenburg anyway. Why don't you just stay at the suite with Kiyoshi? But honestly, Kiyoshi was pretty instrumental in convincing his mother that, hey mom, I actually think it's a good idea that Hana stay with her parents and her sister during this time. She really doesn't get to see them too often, and it'll be okay. I think it's a good idea. So Megumi reluctantly, only because Kiyoshi coaxed her, said, well, I guess you can stay with your parents. But little Nanami came out of the cut again and said, yes, mother, like, I do think it's good for Hana to spend time with her family, but I also think it would be a good idea if she still spent some extra time with Kiyoshi. I think that there's a cute little park that's right near the hotel. Why don't Kiyoshi and Hana have a little lunch date tomorrow, Saturday, in the little park area, and then they could have a moment, just the two of them. I really think it's important that they have lots of moments. In fact, they really should go on quite a couple dates while, we're away from the house and it's being renovated. So Megumi's like, Nanami, that is another amazing idea. I agree. I think that you should, go out with Kiyoshi on a date tomorrow at that park, spend some time together, and really kind of look at your calendar and plan a couple more while the house is getting renovated. It really is important for the two of you to be developing your bond before you get married. And so Hana really kind of gritted her teeth and said, if you say so, mother. And Kiyoshi's like, I hope it isn't too much trouble you coming out to Windenburg to have this date with me while you're spending time with your family. But, that aside, I would like to really take you out and spend time with you. And Hana's like, it's not a big issue, I guess. I guess I'll see you at the park tomorrow for our date. So that brings us to now. Hana is with her family. She's going to be staying with them shortly. It's the morning time, and she's been catching up with Yume and Hiro and just letting them know everything that's been going on at the Ito house. And she, told her mother about this date. She's like, yeah, I have to go in and take the bullet train into Windenburg and do this date with Kiyoshi. So Yumi's like, yeah, I really think it is a good idea that you guys spend more time together and develop your bond. Do you know what you're going to be wearing for your date? I'm so excited for you. I was like, I'm gonna wear what I'm wearing right now. Don't you like it? And, Yumi's like, I mean, honey, it's cute, but, it's great for every day. It's not really a date outfit. Do you want me to help you pick out something to wear for your date? I was like, I mean, I didn't really think I would have to pick anything out for this, but I mean, if you think I need to. And Yume's like, honey, you need to. So, like, Hana's gonna go ahead or Yume's gonna go ahead and help Hana pick something out. So we're just gonna cut to, we're gonna cut to the next scene of Hana just trying on the outfit that Yume was going to pick out for her to wear for her date. So Yume went up into her room and picked out something for Hana to wear, and she laid it out for her to get dressed, and she did her hair beforehand. So she's just coming in now because she's going to finally see the whole ensemble together. So I'm gonna go ahead and switch the camera over to Hana so you guys can see what she looks like. And there is Hana all decked out for her date. Isn't she so pretty? She's so gorgeous. She's like, oh my gosh, sweetie, you look so beautiful. She's like, I can't believe how grown up you look. She's like, Mom, I look how I normally look. And she's like, no, you don't, honey. You look amazing. Like, you look so beautiful. You're going to just knock it out of the park with your date. And she's like, I guess, Mom, but, I just don't really know if it's necessary to be wearing all this extra stuff. And she's like, I know you thought you looked cute before, and you did, but this is just like a better look. And Hana's like, I guess. She's feeling a little bit uncomfortable though, because she's all like, am I overdressed for this whole thing? Because I feel like I am, and it'd be really embarrassing for me to show up overdressed like this, especially since Hana is not going to be going out on a date with Kiyoshi today. So as you guys can remember from last episode, Zachary set up with Hana and his brother to go out on a date today, and it was supposed to be sometime in the afternoon. So she's just calling Brae. She's like, something came up. Is it okay if I push our date back till a little bit later in the afternoon, maybe closer to the evening? Brae's like, oh, no problem, don't sweat it. I do still have to see you, right? And she's like, yeah, you'll get to see me on the date. So she got that all squared away. She's like, good, that'll buy me some time until, you know, I have get this date squared away with me and Kiyoshi, and, you know, hopefully everything will go off without a hitch. It's going to take a little bit of juggling on my part to, you know, get through both dates without it being a huge issue, but I'm going to try and make it work. So the time has come for Hana to go into Windenburg to have her date with Kiyoshi, the one that Yume knows about, but then there's also the date with Brae that she's going to be going to afterwards that her mom doesn't know about. But because Windenburg is about 2 hours away by bullet train, Hana let her mom know, hey, I might actually stay overnight, and her mom's like, that might be a good idea. You told me the Ichos are staying at the Windenburg Hotel. You should stay the night with Kiyoshi. I think that'll be really good for your relationship, you know, with you guys being engaged and everything. And she's like, yeah, you know, we can get to know each other more. So Yume thinks that Hana's going to be staying at the Windenburg Hotel with the Ito family, but actually Hana is going to be staying overnight in Windenburg, but it's not going to be with the Itos. Hana actually did give a call over to Zarya and said, hey, would you mind if I stayed the night over there tonight? I'm going to be in town for a bit, and I need a place to stay. It'll make it easier on me if I have a place to stay. Is it okay if I stay with you? And Zarya's like, yeah, of course. You know, I just have to ask my dad, but I'm sure he'll be okay with it. It'll be nice to have like a little bit of a summer party. She's like, oh great, you're such a lifesaver, Zarya, thank you. So she's going to be staying over at Zarya's house, and she'll be stopping by there before her date with Brae just to drop off her suitcase. So as you can see, she packed an overnight bag, and she does want to ask Zarya's advice a bit, just to, you know how to act during a date with Brae, because she doesn't really know a whole lot about Brae, and she's actually a bit nervous about this date with Brae, despite the fact it wasn't really the date she was thinking she was going to get. She was hoping to, you know, figure things out between her and Zachary, but this is the date she has. So she's like, you know, Zachary's not interested in Brae as maybe, you know, I should focus my attention there. She's not actually really all that nervous or, you know, freaked out about her date with Kiyoshi. She's looking at it as more something to get through. So it'll be interesting to see how her not really focusing on that's going to play into how that date's going to go by. But poor Yume, she looks so sad. She's like, I feel like you just got here and you're going to be going out to Windenburg. And she's like, mother, like, mom, like, don't worry, like, I'll be back real soon, but, you know, this is just something I have to do. She's like, I know, it's just, you know, you're growing up so fast, and I feel like I rarely ever get to see you. Before I know it, I'll blink and you know, will be the same way. And she's like, mom, relax, it'll be fine. We have plenty of days to spend with each other. Aw, so sweet. So Hana decided to give Yume a hug, and she's like, mom, I'll be back soon, like, don't fret too much, like, you'll be fine. I hope you and Yukino will be fine too. And I'm gonna go ahead and have her give little Yukino a hug too, because she's like, don't worry, like, kiddo, I'll be back to have some big sister, little sister time with you so soon, but I do have to go because otherwise I will miss my train. Aww, so sweet. She's like, I'll see you guys when I'm back in town, but I'm gonna go. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna go with little Hana off onto her first ever date. So Hana has made it to Windenburg, and she got Zarya's address from her when she called up on her phone. So she got there and she came to this huge house. She's like, there's no way this is her home. She's like, let me knock on the door and just make sure I'm in the right place. This is crazy. Is this really Zarya's house? So she's knocking on the door. She's all like, I wonder if this is actually it. But then she hears her say, come in, the door's open. And so Hana's like, that sounds like her, so I guess this is her house. So we're gonna go ahead and find out where Zarya is in this huge mess. But yes, this is Zarya's home. So the reason why it's so big, and I do believe I mentioned it in a previous episode, is because Zarya's dad, he's like the person who kind of endowed the boarding school to be renovated and reopened. Before they moved to Windenburg, he was like a diplomat. And while he was doing that, his wife kind of died from a illness, and so he kind of decided to take a step back from being involved in international affairs and that well, and he decided to just kind of settle in Windenburg and put his money and time into education. And so he did very well for himself as a diplomat, which is why he could, you know, purchase him and Zarya this nice house to live in. But he really does kind of want to just focus on the next generation, making sure Zarya gets her education and that others can get their education and do just as well as he is. Where is Zarya in this place? She has to be here, right? Is there a basement? Oh, so Zarya is in the movie theater. I guess we caught her while she's watching a movie. I'm like, where is this girl? So this is Zarya's dad. His name is Brae, and he's the person who invested in reopening Windenburg Global as a boarding school and just really investing his time in the youth and making sure they get their education. I think he is very attractive. So he is still widowed, so he's not dating anybody right now. He really has been putting all of his time into school and making sure that it has everything it needs to educate the youth that go there. And Zarya, who we found in the movie theater, is over here. Y'all know her from the Young Adventurers Club. I would zoom in, but this is giving me, okay, let's try and get a little bit closer here. But yes, this is Zarya, who I think is so pretty. She's so pretty. I did not make her. She's a sim. I got off the gallery and kind of just remade her a bit with the CC that I have. But Zarya, she's a little bit sophisticated, and of course my camera wants to do this. Okay, we're just not gonna do that. But she is very sophisticated, and I kind of think that's a lot to do with the fact that her and her dad have traveled around the world. Her dad and her mom, while her mom was still living, kind of are very worldly and have been all over the place. So she's kind of got a sophisticated air, much more mature feeling than a lot of the other kids in the club or even the school even, which is why I think Hana was really drawn to getting to know her a bit better, because she kind of aspires to have that level of maturity. But, you know, Zarya, like I mentioned in the last episode, has been watching Hana and been seeing, you know, that there have been sparks flying between her and Zachary. So she, of course, probably wants to talk to her a little bit about that. But also, this time that Zarya is going to be spending with Hana, I think it'll be good for her because since her mom passed away, I think she's been a little bit lonely. It's been hard for her to figure, you know, to really find other girls who get her and, like, make friends, really. I think she's been struggling with figuring out how to make friends with her peers. So, as part of the reason why she joined the Young Adventurers Club, so she can figure out a way to make friends easily, and I think Hana kind of reaching out to her to ask her advice kind of opened the door for her to see, hey, maybe she and I can get to be good girlfriends. So, it'll be good to see them bond together. So Hana found Zarya, and she's like, hi Zarya, I found it a little bit, you know, intimidating your house. She's like, yeah, I'm sorry about that. It is kind of big, isn't it? And she's like, yeah, you know, the house I kind of grew up in, I think could just fit in this entire theater right here. And she's like, oh yeah, it's kind of embarrassing. I'm sorry. She's like, no, it's kind of amazing that you live in something that big. She's like, no, but she's like, I'm glad you wanted to hang out and say night. And she's like, yeah, you were a lifesaver, really. And she's like, oh, how so? And she's like, well, you know, I have a date today, and, you know, it'll be a bit of a trek to head back to Mount Komorebi afterwards, so I'm spending the night. And she's like, oh, you don't say, are you could you maybe be going on a date with Zachary? And she's like, Zachary? No, of course not. Why don't you think that? And she's like, really? You're not going on a date with Zachary? And she's like, no, I already said no. I'm going out with somebody else. She's like, oh, I just, after the conversation we had at school the other day, I just assumed that you and him would be going out fairly soon. She's like, no, I honestly don't think that Zachary's interested in me in that way. So, I'm not dating him. She's like, I don't know, like, it just seemed like there was something there. It seemed like he really was interested in you and that maybe you were interested in him back. She's like, Zaria, no, I'm not interested in Zachary at all, and he's not interested in me. Can we just drop it? She's like, I guess. It just, my instincts say otherwise, but I won't push it too much. She's like, I appreciate it. And so she's like, so, who are you going out on a date with? She's like, well, I have this thing I'm going to this afternoon, but afterwards I'm actually going out on a date with Zachary's brother, Brae. She's like, you're going out on a date with Zachary's brother? She's like, yeah, he asked me out when I went over there the other day for homework. So, I actually wanted to ask, do you think that what I'm wearing right now is too dressy? And she's like, I mean, it might be just a tad dressy. I mean, what are you doing? And she's like, I don't actually know. He told me to meet him at the mall. And she's like, well, if it's the mall, then I would think that maybe after you come back from whatever thing you're going to, you might want to come back here and just dress a bit down. She's like, I don't know if I have anything dressed down. She's like, don't worry, if you don't have anything dressed down, I can lend you something out of my closet. She's like, wow, Zaria, thank you. That's such a lifesaver. You're such a good friend. And she's like, no problem at all. I'm here to help. So, Hana, of course, does not want Zaria to know what her little engagement or thing that she has going on this afternoon is. She doesn't want Zaria to know that she is actually going out on a date with her fiance, Kiyoshi. As you guys know, nobody in the Young Adventurers Club knows if she's staying with the Itos or that she's engaged to Kiyoshi Ito. She would like to keep it that way. So she's not going to tell her what she's going to this afternoon. For all Zaria knows, it's just like an errand or something. And she wants to, again, keep it that way. But, she's going to tell her about the date with Brae. Because, like I said before, she's nervous about it. And she's hoping that maybe Zaria can help her prepare for that. And luckily, Zaria did agree to lend her something a little bit more dressed down for that. So she's not going to be dressed like this for this date. But she will be dressed like this for the date with Kiyoshi. So she's gonna just settle her stuff in and she's gonna head out to that date right now. So unfortunately, this is where we're going to leave things for this episode. I know it's a bit of a cliffhanger, leaving it off right before Hana's date with Kiyoshi, but honestly, both dates, the one with Kiyoshi and Brae, ran a bit long, so I had to separate each into their own episodes instead of trying to put them both in one, which was my ambitious initial plan for this episode. Silly me. But with us leaving here, let me know down in the comment section down below what you think Kiyoshi and Hana's date's going to be like, and subsequently also what are you anticipating is going to go down with her date between her and Brae. I would love to hear your thoughts. So we're going to end on these screenshots of our deliciously evil Nanami. I caught these moments of her from the conversation with the Ito family discussing the hotel stay, and I had to showcase them some way in this episode. She's just so evil. As always, guys, stay safe, stay healthy, and of course, stay dazzled. I will see you in the next one. Bye. I'll never be cool with the cool kids, but look who's